Hey guys, so I'm sitting here at my new little office area. We've been getting ready for the fall with everybody being working from home and doing school from home and everything for the considerable near future here. But it's kind of cute, right? I stole Joe's desk. We're redoing his office because he's going to be working from home. So now I, for the first time, have my own little office area. And my cute little lamp here, and of course the girls' pictures back here. I still have to get some accessories for the desktop and things, but it's a kind of cool little area that we have here. So I wanted to tell you what we have decided to do with our family for the fall for school. So here's the deal. We were given two choices. Families were given two choices. And those choices are, you can either do online school full-time, continued as we did in the fall, or the other choice is that you can send your student back to school for 2 days. The online option is a 4-day option, and the in-person option is a 2-day option. And the reason for the 2 days is because they have to do, social distancing, and so they can't fit all the kids in the school at the same time. So some of the kids are going to go Tuesday and Thursday, and some of the kids are going to go Wednesday and Friday. So it's a very complex system, and they've been putting a lot of pressure on parents to decide. I guess in our family, we have decided that we're not going to send the kids back. We've made the decision, since it was offered to us, to continue with online training, online school. So Bethany, who's coming down the stairs right now, she is going to do her, she's going to do the distance learning online, because Bethany's a rock star at that. She's very good with her technology, and she can, the two of them are coming down. I'll let you guys. Are you guys coming downstairs?
Yep.
You're doing so good, Bethany, helping me with Obed. Look at the system that she's got. All right. Do you need me to spot you going down the big stairs?
Here.
Or you got him?
Got him.
Okay. Obed! All right. Make sure he holds the handle now, okay? You see how convenient this little office is, because I'm right here. Works out great. Good job, guys. And you can hear Jesse down there in the media room and see Hannah kind of lurking in the doorway down there. Hannah's excited. Hannah, come on up here for a second.
10-4.
Are you excited about anything going on next week?
Well,
hopefully,
borrowing for any seen circumstances, I'm going back to...
Barring any unforeseen circumstances.
That. I am going to go back to work this coming Tuesday and Thursday, hopefully.
Hopefully, because we had a false start once already, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened?
So I was supposed to go back last Tuesday and Thursday.
Uh-huh.
But they have the email saying that someone in the sibling got the sickness.
Okay.
In their family, one of my coworkers, in the afternoon.
Right. So a sibling tested positive, and the coworker had to stay home. But I don't know what's happened. I think that sibling was negative.
Yeah.
But they had given us the option of what you wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
So
I wish I could go back to. I was so tempted to tell them that I wanted to go back to work so bad.
I know, but we didn't know how extensive that was going to be, right? So we kind of had to wait for the test results.
Yeah.
So now this Tuesday we're going to try again, right?
Yeah.
So you're all excited?
I am, because I cannot wait to get my things ready the night before, because I'm going to try to memorize the format and the layout of the kitchen while I'm in Dad's car. The departure time is going to be 7:30 a.m. because Dad and I decided 2 weeks ago.
Okay, because Dad's going to be your taxi driver for a while, right?
Yeah, he's going to be my family metro access.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great. And
Yeah.
I know you're excited. I'm excited for you too. We're going to start back only 2 days a week to start.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not full up yet either. So it's going to be a modified schedule, but we're cool with that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll finish talking to our friends.
And I got one question.
What's that?
I'm not allowed to wear lounge pants to work, aren't I?
Correct. No lounge pants at work, only at home.
Darn it!
They're very comfortable, aren't they?
Yeah. And
Yeah, you look really cute in them too, actually.
Thanks. And
Yeah.
This outfit is easy because I can do anything with these pants. Any silky shirt with these pants.
You got it. All right, Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Hannah's plan and you got Bethany's plan. She's going to do the virtual learning. Now, we signed Abby up. Her principal has been in really good communication with us. And so we signed Abby up for virtual as well, although it's not very realistic in Abby's case. The principal has assured me that we're going to work something out. We don't know if somebody's going to come and work with Abby, or whether, I don't know what we're going to do, whether we're just going to get assignments for her or what. But, technically the girls have graduated. And so it's job training anyway, and they're not really going to be able to go out into the community. And so, I guess we're just going to have life skill things that we're going to work on at home with those two girls. Now, moving forward to Jesse and Obed, here's the problem. So Jesse and Obed, obviously they're not going to tolerate masks. This is the 2-day plan, is that the kids could go in with the the social distancing and all that, which also doesn't work for either of those students, nor will they tolerate a mask. And so, you can't do that, and they can't access the online curriculum independently. And basically, it would just be a whole bunch of hoop jumping for mom. It's kind of a joke for our kids. I can see how, gen ed kids or kids like Bethany can access and manage and adapt just fine, but it doesn't work for Jesse and Obed. And so I've been going back and forth with the school trying to figure out, how we're going to do it. And the one administrator that I have connections with and I talk to every now and then, we both, are in agreement with the mask situation, that it's not realistic to expect the kids to keep them on. And so she's trying to work things out with the principal, who's thinking, well, if they won't wear a mask, maybe they can wear a shield, which is kind of like, well, if they can't wear a mask, the shield's not going to work. But we've decided not to send Jesse and Obed back to school. So we're going to be homeschooling them, and right now we're going back and forth and trying to determine whether we're going to do that with the school system's assistance, and understanding, or whether we're just going to have to jump ship and go full on homeschool for Obed. Jessie technically graduated last year. She is entitled to stay in school until she's 22, as all the special ed students are. But these are unusual circumstances, and I've asked them to please, if she could stay enrolled so that when this thing passes, she could just go back and have a nice routine and all that. We'll figure it out. So far, we have some therapists lined up to come into the home. I have managed to find a music therapist, which I'm very happy about, who's willing to come into the home. And we're going to kind of go by the IEPs that the kids have. And so we'll start with the number of hours that they received on their IEPs. But the last thing I feel like doing is getting into a battle with the schools, especially under these circumstances. So we're just going to kind of do what we need to do. And whether we have their, like I said, their cooperation and assistance, or whether we just have to go it alone. So let's see, we've got an occupational therapist potentially lined up. I'm trying to find a PT, although there are not really too many of those that are wanting to come into the home. I've got a friend who is a former special ed teacher, who has offered me some help. We've ordered a whole bunch of furniture for our therapy room, high school size activity table and chairs, and just some seating options and things. We got the hooks for the ceiling for the swing. We'll show you that later, but we're in full swing here, getting ready for work at home and school at home for the 2020 year, 2020-2021. What an interesting year it's going to be. And wish me luck, because the last thing on earth that I ever thought I would be doing or wanted to do was be a homeschool parent. But, fortunately, like I said, it's really only Obed that we have to, because he's of the age where we have to continue, legally to, give him his education. Now Jesse and Obed are both, they've always been opted out of the testing because it's kind of impossible to test them. And so, I don't know. It's not that difficult, but it's a challenge for me because I've never done it before. So, we're going to have some fun, and with Joe working at home and a flexible schedule, maybe we can do some field trips and things when things start to open back up a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. So it probably helps more with stability if I just put the camera on the desk that I have. It takes me a while to figure things out, you guys. But anyway, I don't want to be like a negative Nancy or anything about this stuff. And like I said, I do understand that the schools, they really do have, they have a very difficult decision. They're up against so many different things. You're getting all these mixed messages, pressure to open schools. It's not an easy thing, and I don't hold any of this against anybody, but and you guys will have to share with us in the comments what your school systems have decided to do as far as opening or not opening next year. And the other thing is, how do you all feel, those of you special ed parents, do you feel like you guys have been left out? My concern is that this entire population has kind of been set aside and not really considered. I mean, these are, it's called special ed for a reason. I mean, there are special circumstances and, individual needs and things, and it, doesn't necessarily fit in with two options for these kids. And so we know our kids, we understand what we need to do, and we're always working on these things anyway. It's not an academic course for Obed, although we will certainly address communication and number sense and all that as we do things throughout the day. But David is also 100% online. His junior year in college, I feel kind of sorry for him. He doesn't seem to mind. David is kind of a he enjoys his own company, let's put it that way. And so he doesn't, he says it doesn't bother him. But well, it's official. We have filed our intent to homeschool with our school superintendent, and we are an official homeschool family as of yesterday. I am having some pretty mixed feelings here. Not something that I would ever have thought, that I would be wanting to do or have to do. And fortunately, we only had to file for Obed because all the other kids have graduated from high school, and we're certainly not going to leave them out. We'll have all kinds of activities and things, hopefully to the extent possible and to the best of our ability, to be able to educate our kids at home. So basically, our plan is to just file, we've already filed our curriculum, and we just followed the IEP guideline. And we'll just be doing that. We'll just follow the goals, which are, not very complicated. And it'll be very interesting to see how we do. So wish us luck, guys. This is going to be an interesting year. I do feel like, in our case, we have been kind of forced into this. I have had the opportunity to speak to one of the school administrators who really didn't have an answer for our, special needs kids. And it's very difficult when you're student is blind and has nonverbal autism and severe intellectual disabilities, to expect them to stay logged into an online class from like 8:30 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, which was, of course, the only expectation, with no clear, accommodations being made for our students. So Joe and I made our decision, and we're off. We're off and running. We are an official homeschool family. We made the decision to unilaterally withdraw Jessie because they didn't quite know what to do with her. They couldn't figure out how to keep her enrolled and allow her to return to school when things are finished. So we went ahead and withdrew her from school. It was a very sad day. When we pushed the send button to the to the school superintendent, I'm not kidding you guys, I sat there and cried like a baby. It was just a very sad moment for me to think that, I had to do that, but it was that, or, go along with some unrealistic expectations, which I really felt were going to hold us back, because I think it's better in our case to just, release ourselves from those obligations that were expected of us. And it's so much hoop jumping. And, the other night we logged into an online town hall meeting with our school. I wanted to just beat my head against the wall, because first of all, they didn't address our students in any way, shape, or form. I had followed the protocol of submitting my one and only question in advance of the meeting, which they addressed at the beginning of the meeting and said, well, if you have a question that pertains to your individual student, nobody ever called me or anything, but they said, you contact the principal's assistant, which I did without any response. And yesterday, I think because we didn't meet the deadline, for their decision to either virtually school or to send the kids, because I hadn't responded in Jessie and Obed's case, that alone prompted a school or a call rather, from one of the administrators. And so that's how I happened to get on the phone and be able to speak to this individual who was really only interested in checking off her box to see what our decision was. And so, we made our decision. It was awful. We sat there for an hour, and the questions that were being asked over and over again, the very same questions that anyone who had, been listening to any of this should have known in advance. Joe and I were joking, saying these are the, the gen ed parents that are asking these questions, and, it's okay. I think today, I'm kind of in a place where I feel a bit of a relief, I guess, just not knowing that I can just push that obligation and responsibility aside and just start on trying to figure out how to take care of the kids at home and educate them at home. Just because we withdrew Jessie doesn't mean we're going to leave her out. She's going to get the music therapy, and I'm kind of excited because I think that the quality of the therapy services that we can provide her at home and the number of hours that we can give her, as many hours as we can possibly afford. And so it's going to be really interesting to see if that helps her. I have a feeling that she's going to progress more than she might have otherwise. All right, well, I just got a letter in my email.
What's your letter?
Okay, so we filed the paperwork correctly.
Okay.
For our homeschool.
For who?
For Obed. So step one, we did that part right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Was it a Dear Jane letter?
Kinda.
So
it was like,
okay then, fine.
It was a so long, suckers. You're on your own now.
Well,
no, that's what it was. No, that's actually what it is.
The options that were given were not good for Obed.
The administrator told me that they don't want his bodily fluids in their classroom. So we did the first thing right, so that's very encouraging.
And so who's going to teach Obed how to log on to the computer?
Well, that's not going to be me. I don't even know how to log on to the computer.
Does Obed know what a computer is?
I shouldn't say that if I'm going to be homeschooling my kid, but no, we're going to be fine, you guys. We're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine.
We have a list of subjects that he's working on, that he'll be working on, that are appropriate for him. And we're already working on those. We've been working on them all summer.
God help us all. So after all that pressure that our school board put on parents to make the decision about whether they wanted to go back to school in person or virtually, the news just in is that our superintendent has decided that it's going to be all virtual anyway. So I think we made the right decision. It's going to be an interesting year.
Every change